Hey friend, how are you? This is your friend Scotty Nichols from Motivation Mastery Mind. Today I'd like to talk to you a little bit about some of the things that I've learned over the years, especially from a famous writer and motivational speaker and person that taught practical information on how to improve relationships with others. His name was Dale Carnegie. Dale Carnegie wrote a book in the mid-1900s called How to Win Friends and Influence People. He was also a teacher and an instructor at the local YMCA and in other places, and through his venues he became very successful and popular in the things that he taught. His philosophy was that the soft things often become the hard things, and what I mean by soft things is the things that are often considered easy, overlooked, or not worth honing and preparing. His philosophy was that those things were the most important because of the lubricating value, if you will, of understanding relationships. One of his most important aspects of teachings that I've taken into my life is to express sincere, honest appreciation, among many things that he taught. And when I was reading his book for probably the second or third time 20 years ago, it was right around Veterans Day, and I'll share this story with you as an example of sincere, honest appreciation. And I stopped at a local gas station close to where I worked to get a snack and pump some gas. And I'm going to date myself for my age a little bit, but this is before you had to pay or prepay. So I pulled up and started pumping gas without going in. And there was a guy right next to me, a very large man. He had a long, beautiful red beard. His hair was almost all the way down to his waist in a braid, and he had a big Harley Davidson motorcycle with the handles way up in the air, and he was over there pumping gas. Now on his helmet that he had on his seat, it had all kinds of different stickers of where he visited, but there was one that said Vietnam veteran, and damn proud of it. It was Veterans Day. My grandfather served many years in the military, and he taught me to always thank a veteran. So I walked up to this gentleman, and I'm looking up at him, and I said, "Excuse me, sir. I see your helmet, the one with the spike on the top here. It says you're a Vietnam veteran." And he looked at me for a second, and he looked down at me very sternly and said, "Yes, that's correct. And what the hell is it to you?" Well, it kind of took me back a little bit. I mean, this is a big man, and I felt like I had offended him. But I said, "Sir, my grandfather was in the military, and he taught me to always thank a veteran. And I want to tell you that I appreciate you," and then I stuck out my hand, "and I want you to know that I am thankful for the service that you gave over there when you were a young man in a time of your life that you were probably scared and you didn't know what to do, but you still had the courage to go and do what you did. Because of that, and thousands of young men just like you are the reason that I enjoy many of the freedoms that I have today." It was sincere. It wasn't a tactic. He stuck his hand out and reluctantly shook my hand and almost kind of threw it away. He kind of mumbled a thank you, and he turned around and walked in to go pay for his gas. Well, I finished pumping, and on the way in to pay for my gas, he was walking out, and this guy was about 6'6". He was a tall guy. I'm close to 5'11". And I could see the tears running down his face. And when he saw that I knew he was crying, he came over, and this big man wrapped his arms around me and literally picked me up. I remember my feet were dangling. I remember how wet my cheek was. And he said, "Brother, I have been home almost 30 years. And he said this with so much emotion in his voice. "I have never had anyone thank me for what I did over there. I will never forget this day as long as I live." That was an emotional moment for me. It taught me that we can see people in everyday life, and they seem to be okay, and they may be because we're adults, right? But all of them are carrying pain. Most of us are carrying a sincere, without vanity, a craving for sincere appreciation for those things that we do. I encourage you to contemplate this. This is one story of many, of the power of gratitude for the things that people do. I invite you to practice this. Look around you. There may be people that are in your family. There may be your coworkers. There may be people in church. Reach out to them. Even if it's something simple like saying you admire their work ethic, you admire their smile, or you admire how good of a job they did on preparing that song for church, the hymn. Or it could be a coworker that did well on a project. Or you might admire the humility of the fact that they admitted that they made an error. There are so many things that you can look for and really give sincere appreciation. It doesn't need to be a tactic, but it would allow you first to begin to look for the good in others. And a secondary benefit is that the others will feel good that you've given them a compliment. This is your friend Scotty Nichols. I encourage you to practice this, and in the meantime, you may become better because of it. I'll see you at the top, friends. Thank you.